We'll go ahead and roll it. I'll look at my notes. I've been in such a unique season of life lately. It's been more peaceful, less stressful, and I've just had more time to kind of do things. And that feels great. And I really think it's kind of a result of making different decisions, obviously, but a handful of years of things and kind of coming to a different place of the way we approach projects. And I think specifically the biggest impact that I've kind of felt is how I've kind of went from hating video editing to loving editing. I want to break that down because I think that's important, and I don't think I necessarily set out to get back to loving editing. I've kind of arrived at a thought that I think is actually bad business advice, and it's that I think you should edit your own videos. And I want to spend a little bit of time unpacking that and helping to understand why that is, where I'm at, and making that make sense. Just a little bit of history. I started as a video editor. That's what got me into this. That led me to cinematography, to lighting, to doing productions, to directing, to the different things. And when I started out, I loved editing because it was very creative. It was very satisfying. It was nice being able to take something that wasn't great and make it better. And I feel like the first handful of years of doing things, I was so hands-on with editing because it felt like that's how we made our projects work. And then naturally, once your taste and your skill set matches and you start to make better productions and all of that, you start to get bogged down by it. And I think that's where the hate for editing becomes. I think so many of us video creators that manage several projects and do the editing probably start to feel this sense of I hate editing, and that becomes this echo chamber of tons of advice out there to outsource, to hire other editors. And I don't think that's bad advice. I think both things can be true, and it really comes down to where you are on your creative journey. All right, so for those who aren't wanting to edit, who do want to outsource this, I'll give a little pro tip. When we started hiring junior editors, often I would give no parameters and they would come back with something that was less than satisfactory, and I'd be pretty disappointed. It was like a 5-year learning curve, if I'm being honest. And the big difference maker was when we applied the leadership square to our training of editors. When I would train with those specific tasks, it would start with, I'm going to show you how to do it and talk you through it. After that, I'm going to do it and you're going to talk me through it. Then we would move into they're going to do it and I'm going to talk them through it. And then we would end with they're going to do it and I'm going to watch. It might take you weeks, it might take you months, it might take you a few years. If you're going to approach hiring an editor, have the mindset of I need to be patient. The caveat with that is I feel like that exact thinking is what led me more into the business mindset of things. And I feel like it kind of started to sterilize our creativity. I do think it comes back to this can be a great business decision, but I'm trying to make more artistic decisions for myself. If you had talked to me even 4 years ago, I think you would hear how much I hate editing. And to be in this current headspace of loving editing again, I think is so unique and special. I feel like I'm an artist again, and I feel like that's a huge piece of why I liked editing so much. In those early phases, I feel like editing was so valuable because it showed me all of my shortcomings. It showed me how I wanted to approach our productions better. It felt like studying film. So I was able to really look at, I don't like how we lit this. I don't like how we approached this scene. We could have done this more efficient. We didn't need these shots. It wasn't just about clicking the buttons and doing the thing. It was more about understanding how we could approach the next project better. We do corporate brand storytelling and the documentary side of things, music videos, we've done weddings, we've done so many different things. And I think so many video businesses will get focused on the film types that they do. Where we were always focused is on, the relationships that we have with our clients and what their problems are and how we help close that gap. As we started to get better at production, we were really focused on volume, on assets. And I think this shifted our business model, our value proposition, and ultimately led me to hating editing. It helped us land more business deals, to get more clients, to increase our revenue, and that created a lot of opportunities for us to grow. However, it started the burnout of editing for me. when we would work with a business, we would really come in and say, what are all the different assets and what's your plan for the next 6 months, year, 3 years? And then let's kind of create a content library to help you. Just from a practical standpoint, when we were in that era of high volume deliverables, we were cutting down on our production side of things, and we were streamlining our pre-production as much as possible. From a business standpoint, that makes a ton of sense to be more efficient in these areas. The consequence and the negative that I would say is because I was so focused on we got to give these deliverables. In streamlining this, we were fitting a lot of people into the same processes over and over. Nothing sounds wrong on the outside, but I don't think our relationships benefited from that. I didn't feel closer to my clients. And with that, that led into productions that I was trying to scale down the crew or scale down the rental costs or locations or whatever, and trying to make their idea as creative as possible with more confines to where we had more time in post-production, more resources in post-production, to hire more junior editors, to manage more of these assets. And I think along with that, the priorities got different. I felt less inspired by our work. And I think that's what led me to 2023 feeling differently about our work. Focusing more on storytelling again and really looking at us as an external vendor that supports an internal team. I really do think that the value of having lots of content is there, but I also think the value of us being able to spend the time doing the best things at our highest capacity is also there. As an artist, I need to feel passionate and inspired by the work that we do. As selfish as that sounds, I want to be excited about projects. And a huge part of that is feeling connected with my clients, feeling like they understand me and I understand them. Crafting a concept and a vision for something that we're all excited about, I think that excitement becomes contagious. I want the experience to be an enjoyable one, not just a streamlined one. When I'm able to focus on doing one thing really well, I'm reverse engineering, I'm trying to make the best concept and expand the production as much as possible, whether that be time, whether that be people. The list goes on to where those resources can go. We've approached our projects as co-producers, and I think that's made a huge difference because we're sharing those ideas. You can hire away all of your problems, and that resource can go a lot shorter with us dividing into it. Or some of our best clients, I feel, are very resourceful and they're trying to find free locations or create the props. And that allows us to put more time into the production, into the concepting, into the ideas. That's made our projects so much better. I felt so much more fulfilled as a storyteller, as a video producer, as a DP director. And it's been a more hands-on approach when we were able to spend more time in pre-production, in production. I got more excited about hopping into the edit because I had to see the story come to life. If I was to give business advice, it is probably hire some editors, outsource those things. There is a tangible benefit to those. But the invisible for me has been, I want to be happy and fulfilled with my art. So spending the time up front, getting to know the project, getting to make the production really fun, has had this invisible benefit when I get into post and I'm able to edit something that I'm genuinely excited about. In those years where we were outsourcing, I got so focused on outsourcing the wrong things. So I would outsource the most creative projects and I would take on the very boring projects, the very tedious things. I started to notice like our creativity was going away a little bit because I am a good editor, and to ignore that skill set doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, if you're sitting here and you're not a great editor, maybe you need to put in more hours, or maybe you do need to just hire someone who's really great at those things. I don't think either option is right or wrong. I think it's a matter of what's right for you, how you're feeling, what your aspirations and goals are. Coming kind of back to this peaceful season, I feel like a handful of things changed. We took on less work, and I wanted to do better work. I didn't want to do more work. Back when we were doing weddings, brand storytelling, and we were doing music videos, I was so focused on how many projects could we do a year. At the peak of everything, we had like 50 weddings a year, 20 music videos, and we'd work with like 14 businesses. And I was so proud of managing all of that volume. Obviously, things change. Those reps definitely made us more efficient and better, and those skills are valuable. However, in this day and age, it's like, I want to do less better. It's about being the right speed, being in the right mindset, and creating the boundaries to be able to do things really well. Like even if I rewind, we would often have a 6 or an 8 month runway because our budgets are higher, our projects are bigger, and we have flexible terms when we work with people. So we might talk to someone, plan a project, and set a payment plan, and we wouldn't get started for 6 to 8 months. Now that makes a lot of logical sense in terms of we want to wait to get started until we have the capital to do that thing. I was excited about those ideas 8 months ago, and when we got to it, I had to re-dive into that project, and it became so much harder. That co-producing side of thing allows us to manage the budget, allows us to kind of work together and set expectations. We've lowered the bar on production in a lot of ways in terms of expenses and expectations, but I feel like both parties are kind of working together and less overlaps. It allows me to be all in on that thing. Ideally, I would love to be at a place where we're doing one project at a time, start to finish. It would be wonderful to talk with a client, to have a month to kind of ideate that thing, shoot the production, and turn it around and post in under a week. Post-production often takes so long when you rush in to production. Mistakes happen. But also, if you're overly producing and overly planning, that's not really helping either. My crew has been more excited. I've been more excited. We've had happier clients. We're getting better testimonies. This season that I'm in, it feels like I have a lot more bandwidth to kind of take things on, but I'm not in a rush to fill that time. Even outside of client work, it's like we have these passion projects that are narrative films or documentaries that we want to work on, and I'm not intimidated by editing anymore. I feel like we're unlocking a different layer of creativity. So I'm sitting here in 2026 really excited about editing again. And some of the ideas and what I think that's percolating is like, we have more bandwidth for creative projects. Don't we all want to like the work that we do? That's what I got into this for. I got into it because this work is so fun, it's so fulfilling, it's so exciting. So I want to be able to take risks. I want to be able to try things. And I think kind of repurposing all of this has allowed me to like editing. 3 years from now, it'll probably be different. Maybe I'll still be on the same track. Maybe I'll be hiring editors again. Maybe it'll be some combination of both of those things. All I know is right now, I feel like I'm very proud of the last 2 years of work. Has everything worked out perfectly? Absolutely not. But many of them have. And me being happier, me feeling more peaceful, me feeling more at ease, I'm starting to see my brain open up to new opportunities and want to try different things. And that's exciting. That's what this is all about for me.